We'll see. All right, we'll find out. Anyways, all right.
I
So
see that's recording, so
yeah, whether it's saved or not, we'll find out. But
yeah.
anyways, quick shout out to those of you tuning in on TikTok and Instagram. You guys are kind of watching the secondary camera of one of our conscious creator meetings right now. If you're interested in joining as a leading member, check my Patreon and you can learn there and sign up for the Patreon leading member level. But anyways, what I was going to say, yeah, so with what we were talking about, Natasha, just kind of talking about our goals and objectives and everything like that. Yeah, like again, I think at the end of our day, at the end of the day, like our goals are, yes, to be able to entertain and inspire people, but ultimately it's to be able to like deepen a relationship as well. Now, some of the audience will just kind of be people who are just kind of like passing by and they'll see your content and they'll be like, oh, this is, it touched my heart and everything like that. But at the same time, like for the people that are really going to resonate, to be able to have that opportunity for them to be able to connect further can be very exciting for them, especially if they see a video that they really like of yours or of Lily's or anything like that. And then they know that it's like, oh, wait, like what? Like I could join her private community or like I could have like one-on-one coaching with her or something like that. Having those kind of pathways and branches is definitely something that will be really viable. And that's where, again, like there's something I can help with, Natasha, where like I'm basically like encouraging everybody on the team to eventually like create their own Patreon if they're feeling called to do it, because that's where you can start getting creative and you create the framework and it can start small, but it builds over time. Like the Patreon I have, like I've built it over several years, but again, you can create your own model. And the Patreon we have, it's basically like a sliding scale, but I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't create a Patreon where, your membership is like $30 a month or even $50 a month. And even then it's like a smaller group of people, right? So the thing with like creating a Patreon and kind of like starting that private membership community, a first important step in it is really like owning our value and owning our time. Because I know we've kind of been like ingrained with this idea that if we're creating conscious spiritual content, that it's actually like unspiritual to charge money. But again, it's more so this idea that like, like we're pouring our heart and soul into so much value and content for the community in the things that's available for everyone. And then for those who do want to be able to connect further, there is that option for an energy exchange. And again, that can be one-on-one coaching. But this is where, again, like, take a look at what we've been creating with the model of, here I am creating content, and then we have our private Discord, and then we have our Patreon and broadcast. You could literally replicate this kind of like within your own kind of community and kind of, again, just like welcoming in new people, and what that may kind of be niched around, is up to you. And one thing, I kind of just go back to the question of like what is needed. And I've talked about this with like other creators as well. Even if you wanted to, Natasha, if it feels right, you could even like create like a membership community that might be like exclusively for females or something like that. And then that way it's kind of like this like extra sacred special space. And then you can kind of theme things around that, like let's have a meeting that's kind of like framed around, talking about like more female women-y stuff and everything. And it really just gives people a place ultimately to be able to get excited about calling home. And then, and then from that, again, you're building your relationship. And then out of that, even if it's just like a first group of people, you're also getting your testimonials. And then from there, it starts building. And then you could do some Zoom calls, record, let people know that there's these private things going on. So again, I think just knowing that those options are there, I hope just by us talking about it can start get the gears rolling. And even like shortly when you get a chance after this, like, just check out creating a profile on Patreon, and then you at least got it. And then you can start tweaking it and playing with it. And then again, like my job essentially with what I do is like focus on creating like valuable content. And then that valuable content, which is legitimately serving people, is also an invitation for people who want to be able to connect further and connect deeper. And then obviously within ours, it's kind of like that specific niche around the conscious creator role as well. But yeah, just kind of like chatting out loud and stuff like that. Does that, even just talking about that, does that kind of like start sparking some ideas for you, do you think?
Oh my God, yeah, a crap ton. Like this is amazing. Like you saw me nodding the whole time. I was like, yes. It was, oh my God, yeah, like, yeah, you touched my heart. It's resonating. I really
I knew you were saying
that.
That's good. Yeah, because again, like people are looking for that. They're looking for that like community. They're looking for that connection. And again, I think like what's also really cool is that like the vibration that you put into your content creates like this like law of attraction process, like where you will attract the right people for you. And then even still, like when you're creating community, like you get to set the guidelines, you get to set the precedent, and you get to decide how the container is going to function. And at any time, if there's, you know, someone who might be, you know, just kind of like not really a good fit, you can just be like, hey, look, you know, like I appreciate the interest, but like here, maybe here's something else. You might be able to point them in another direction in a very like kind way. So
boundaries.
Yeah,
spiritual boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. Healthy boundaries is a big part about being able to create community. But yeah, you know, like I'd be really curious to just kind of like even just brainstorm with you further about like what a Patreon could look like for you, especially since what you're saying, you're like, okay, like I do want to create this as as a full-time job and everything like that. And absolutely, it is possible. It takes a little bit of time. Right now is a great opportunity, and it could happen sooner rather than later. Like 1 month of focusing on that, like if you were to get, you know, like 10 people signed up for like $30 a month or something like that, you're off to a good start. And then from there, you can just kind of keep building. And again, the big thing with like creating that income and everything like that, like not that that's your focus, but obviously that is a big part of it, because that just helps you keep creating even more. Plus it helps you like develop these like deep connections with the people who are there. So it's all like in alignment with your service. And then also, so hold on, wait, no, I forgot what I was going to say. What was I going to say?
You're in alignment with your purpose.
Oh, I know. It was like 2 thoughts before that. Anyways, okay. I'll get back to it in a bit, but what was I going to say exactly? That's all right. It's okay. But anyways,
the boundaries we were talking about.
It wasn't something I already said. It was like something I was about to say, but
marketing. Well, I have a question because long story short, blessings and thankful, humble. So I have a great opportunity to make a lot of products. And one thing that for me personally, I felt like I want to get to know people and start building like a little bit of community. And of course, Mystic Spider-Man, Paradigm Shift Central has been the key to unlocking this potential for the community and Instagram and everything, but really this team of like-minded people. And I've just been following my spirit and creating, and a lot of abundance has come my way. And it's just so grateful. And I have equipment and ways to make like magnets, button, t-shirts, you know, get my label name out there. And I wonder if there's anything wrong with going ahead and, if you can afford to, have those products in place and then start your Patreon. Because for me, what I envision for my identity is like already having, like when I have a Patreon, it's like ready, like to sign up, like when I present it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything wrong with that?
And again, you can kind of see this even within the model that I've created for the Patreon. Having items as a part of your model is useful. And this is something, you know, Natasha, like there's no reason you couldn't create some products for yourself. And even if it's like the drop shipping version, where it's basically, you know, you create cool shirts and then you don't even touch the products, it's all shipped through third-party stuff. But what I was just going to say is that one thing that's actually useful, and this is not just my idea, you see in a lot of places, that when people sign up for the Patreon, they basically get a discount for your items. You know, they get a coupon code that they can apply over and over and over again. So there is.
I want like an online metaphysical shop.
Yeah, it's just I think again, I think focusing on the items is something that you have to balance, because I don't want it's harder to kind of just like fully depend on making the sales for the items as your primary source of income. Not to say it's impossible, but then it's always kind of like this thing where it's like you get through the end of a month and then you're on to the next month, and then it's like, oh, like I have to make X number of sales all over again. So like what you really want is the regenerative income, which is what the Patreon is. You know, you're building those relationships and everything like that.
all of
Yeah.
my things will be customized, like my candle magic. Like I'll
Yeah.
have some that are just basic candle magic, like just the colors, and teach people the rituals, the sacred rituals, and how to manifest and see your highest enlightened self. And then I'll have some like customizable options where you get a reading, and then like I've had it in my heart, but like now I have the wherewithal,
Hmm.
the knowledge and the supplies and the ability, and I've just been so patient, and I just feel like it's coming in line. But I needed to join this call. It's so peculiar to me that you mentioned drop shipping or whatever, because I have been studying on that. And yeah, it is like a month, like it takes like a month to do that, the dropship club at Gmail. And I'm just really looking at like semi-automated things where I don't have to be the one to, you know, ship out. Cause like you can get a
Yeah.
$29 a month Clubhouse membership, and then they integrate it. They use their algorithms to link you up with people, show you what's trendy right now and how to put your own flair on it.
Hmm.
And kind of like forecast for you what people are looking for at the present time and what you will be best used. So like my products, I'll always keep my candles, I'll always keep my sage, I'll always keep my incense, like I'll always keep my wire wrap crystals, like, but then there'll be things that like I might be malleable and more adaptable to like create, like, oh, dream catchers are really in need right now. You know, I make dream catchers. So now this month, since dreams are just, you know, like say for example, this month everyone's coming to me with dreams, I'm gonna make some dream catchers.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or be patient still, and because I really want to get my Patreon. I have a lot of people wanting things from me. They DM me, they ask
Hmm.
me, and so I feel the call. I'm answering the call. I
Hmm.
just want, I know there's learning curves. I know that, you know, it takes usually 6 months to start a business. And realistically, guys, we are spiritual beings, but we do have to have a living.
Yep.
So that's where the two, you know, combine. And I can't live any other way but spiritually. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I've tried it and I can't. This is my life. This is my purpose. And so with the Patreon, can I even just have like pictures, sample, like, because I'm making like samples of incenses and samples of sage, and like, and just offer those as incentives. Like if you sign up for my Patreon, even if I don't have all the supplies yet, to get started sooner, to help more people sooner, like I'll give you like a trial size tea light. You'll still experience the energy shift. You'll still experience that, but it's something I can afford to make for 10 cents and give away.
Right. May I reply to that now? Is that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think from my experience, and again, this is good knowledge even for Natasha as well. With the Patreon, you do have this option where it's like, yo, if people sign up for this, I'll send you something. I'll send you something right off the bat. That can be something that like helps with the incentive, but at the same time, that can also like either way that can turn into like a little bit too much. Basically,
Okay.
and I've experienced this before.
Like they feel like they've already got everything.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You want to be able to provide enough value where like that little extra little bit isn't going to be the deciding factor. And this is where like ultimately the main thing that is the value is like your presence and your relationship and your authenticity and your time and your devotion and everything like that. Like that's like no one's going to say yes or no to your Patreon based on like a little extra item. I've played with this in the past where like I use like the like so for like the Light Guardian crystals, which are like super dope, and I hand make all of these. And then there was a period back in the day where I was like, okay, and I had to learn from this, where basically I was like, all right, I want to be able to like get as many people signed up as quick as I can, and I want to make it easy as possible for them to say yes, for them to be like, yes, you know. And that's where like what I would do during a broadcast, I would be like, oh, if you sign up, you can get this crystal. And then I know what would actually what I found out to happen is that, you know, some people would like see that. They wouldn't really know who I was at that point, but they would be like, yo, I want that crystal. And then they would sign up, and then I would kind of like deliver them this crystal, which I obviously had to hand make, produce, and ship, which takes a lot of time. But then within that, it was kind of me taking a big risk where I was like, okay, I'm going to send this to you with the understanding that you're going to like stay signed up for the Patreon as long as possible. So in my mindset was like, okay, I'm going to invest like $50 of my time in order to be able to get like one new sign up. So it was basically this idea where I was converting time.
It's a risky investment
into Patreon supporters. And honestly, I don't recommend it. Having learned from it, I don't recommend it because it's too unpredictable in the case where basically what ended up happening is I did this way back and I sent out like so many of these packages, and then probably like more than 50% of those people like aren't Patreon supporters anymore. And it's not just because it's like, oh, they like suddenly decided they didn't like my stuff, but it's life, it's circumstance, it's whatever, right? So it's like,
I'm trying to learn from you.
Yeah, and
teach me.
Yeah, so that's what I had to learn. So and honestly, like, and even still, like I wouldn't do that again, because even unconsciously, it kind of like creates this little bit of an imbalance between the relationship, where it's almost as if like you're like, okay, like I'm giving this to you, and it's like, no, like please stay signed up, like stay signed up. Like if you don't, you're gonna hurt my feelings. Like so it's kind of like, and then
for personal, not professional.
Yeah, exactly. So then if suddenly they're just like, hey, sorry, I can't keep doing this, and then suddenly like what I was experiencing was just like crap. There's like money down the drain. Like if they were signed up for 2 weeks, maybe I got like, you know, $22 out of it. But then like I had already sent them like $100 worth of a package. And back in the day, it wasn't even just the light crystals. It was like an entire package of shift buttons and free hugs. It was like each package.
I had that planned out. Like, what am I going to put in mystery box?
Yeah,
I talked to you.
So what I find to be the better path is that, you know, you have your Patreon at a sign up level that is, you know, affordable for like kind of a base level. And then within that, there is the incentive where they get the discount on the items. That's a decent discount on the items. And then if people want those items, they'll get.
What should my overhead be? Like, okay, so when I'm considering my overhead, say it costs me $3 to make a candle, but I can sell it for $30. Hold on, I lost track. You said discount. How much, in your opinion and experience, which is very valuable to me, how much of a discount with your overhead? Like how much, like if it cost you $3 to make, I'm just throwing out numbers, $3 to make a crystal, lightsaber crystal, and taking all your time, but we're talking like how much money it took you. Okay, and in time is money, let's be real. So discount, like how much of a discount? Like 50%. I'm still, so then my overhead, let's say 3, you sell it for 15 instead of 30, so you're still making a profit. Like is 50%, 20%? What is the discount?
So with our Patreon at the
overhead,
at the lower side of the signups, it's 25% discount. And then like as it goes up, it literally increases by 5%. So if someone were to sign up, if someone signs up for like $60 a month on our Patreon, I think they get like over like a 50% discount, which if they were purchasing a lot of items, they could literally like make that back in a single purchase. Like even with like some of the items, like someone could sign up for $11, buy a Lumerian Light Guardian crystal and save like $20.
They made their money back. Exactly.
They make their money back and you're making a sale that you wouldn't otherwise already had. So again, and again, you know, like, and it's important to be able to decide like why you want to be selling these items, because again, like
help people.
Exactly. That's it. Right. So like, and even still, like with a lot of the items I have, like, it's not like it helps, like it helps pay for groceries and stuff like that, but that's not like my primary source. But you do want to have these multiple streams of income. So like, even in that mindset, you know, you're wanting to be able to provide it for like an accessible value to be able to genuinely help people, you know, and I think if they are in resonance with what you're creating, they'll get that as well, you know?
Oh,
So
that's already a code. That's already like the universe and I got that worked out.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
good.
yeah. Yeah, so
Oh,
I would say, you know, like if your Patreon sign up is kind of like the lower tiers have those 25% discounts, because then again, you know, if that's an incentive, you're making a sale that you otherwise wouldn't have made, and then that, you know, it just goes back into investing in more.
but the thing is, can I just
Yeah, go
respond?
for it.
I don't really need to make the sales online with my Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
I have other outlets, other ways to distribute them, other locations. The pandemic's slowing it down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not for money. It's surely for helping people, Brendan,
Straight up.
and also to use my gifts, because idle hands to me are the worst thing. I have to be creating things of spiritual nature. Like I work with the energies, and I know I'm safe to say this here. I work with the energies, and I feel called. And so when I feel called, I make those magic candles. I make those dream catchers. I make those sage bundles. Like when the spirit calls, when I feel that the universe is like, I gave you these gifts to help people. And that's what I want you to use them for. You'll be rewarded. Like I already know that I will be provided for.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my concern. I have no fear or concern with that. I just want to best be able to help people.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if I should separate my Patreon and then refer people to my website that I'm building.
Yeah, like like
Is that an option?
Yeah, like your website should either be a separate shop, or if you're just starting, it could just literally be like through direct message. You know, it's just like you put up like a picture, and it's just like, these are on sale, send me a direct message, and then it's just a PayPal transfer. So that's
I already have that. I already have people that like find out that I make candle magic. I think it's on my Light Love Lives Instagram, which I'm changing that name today. And so with that, lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, Brendan.
No problem. Happens to the best of us, clearly.
Yes, contagious. So online contagious brain farts.
Right. Brain farts, yeah.
Okay. Does she want to talk? I think.
Well, I was going to say, we can come back to it. Yeah. Because, I mean, again, like this stuff we're talking about, it's only just like one part of, you know, everything that we're here to talk about.
Yes. And
Natasha, just like putting it back to you again, is this like getting ideas rolling at least? Is this, any thoughts?
For sure. Like you can definitely continue talking. Like I'm learning so much from this. Honestly, I'm sucked in. So go for it if you want.
I want to hear more about you, Natasha.
Yeah.
If I was interested in signing up to your Patreon, what kinds of things would I be able to experience?
That's a good question. Yeah.
I don't even know yet.
We're in the brainstorming phase, so yeah.
Yeah, let's brainstorm. Let's brainstorm together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do this.
Well, again, you know, like I think like even just kind of like before like diving into that, yeah, again, you know, like I think it's one of the things that's always important to keep in mind is this idea of like owning the fact that like we are our own brand, but understanding that our brand is our
vibe.
Is our authentic self, is a vibe as well. So and again, I think this is like, this already comes through very clearly in your work, Natasha. Like I like the idea that like I have your TikTok open right now. And for those of you who are, I guess, tuned in, are there people?
Can I have the TikTok? Can I have the TikTok?
So her TikTok,
online?
The Reframe Queen. So I'll just post a link. So Lily, you can take a look at it. And you only started what, like how many weeks ago? Like less than a month, give or take?
Yeah, less than a month. I don't even know. Like a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
And are you like famous?
You're about a month.
But I've
getting there. I mean, your one of your videos has, what was it, 40,000 or 4,000?
Go 40, girl.
40,000 views on the vision board.
Girl. One. I think
That's
it's because
good.
I'm not. I think it's because when I'm channeling, it's hard for me to focus on doing a video and channeling. So it'll get better with time. I'm just shy. I'm shy.
Like, even checking out like Natasha's videos.
That's why I was like, I'm gonna check out this queen.
Yeah, like look at the way inspiration as well.
Yes, thank you for your inspiration, Natasha.
But yeah, and I'll just kind of like ask you just again to be able to like help you kind of hear yourself respond in the process. But like when people watch your content, what do you hope that they get out of it, so to speak?
It changes. Sometimes I hope they get a giggle. Sometimes I hope they get inspired to connect with Mother Nature. Sometimes I hope to help them just know they're not alone. Like, I guess I need to have one idea, one message, but it's really whatever I feel in the energy, whatever I'm picking up. Like if let's say, because I'm an empath, and I can say that. And so just sometimes depending on like what I feel people need, but like sometimes honestly, I have a hard time distinguishing what I need for myself and what other people need. Like, is it me that needs it, or is it someone else that needs it?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. So, well, and Natasha, thank you, Lily, did you want to reflect on that? What do you hope people get out of your content and connecting with you? And again, the answer is kind of revealing itself as we continue to work on it, I think. So,
yeah, I feel like, I don't know, for people to realize like how badass they are with the work they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so funny that you say spiritual Avengers. Like weeks ago, I had posted on Facebook, I was like, oh, everyone's working on themselves right now. We're like the spiritual Avengers. And then you freaking reached out to me. And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, go figure, right?
I love your energy. Yeah.
Oh,
and you just transmit it. I get really shy. I think it's just a personal thing I got to work out. Are you shy when you do it? Are you just like tell me Natasha, if you don't mind answering this.
Yeah.
Do you prepare for your videos? Is it both spontaneity? Like if you see something, you're like, I want to capture this. Where is your level of confidence at? Like if you would say on a 1 to 10 scale of confidence, using your throat chakra, your heart chakra, all your chakras, what level are you at? And I can tell you, I think I'm only at like a 2 on confidence. On TikTok.
I'm hearing Lily talk about this, who hasn't seen Natasha's video. I'm like, yeah, like how confident are you, Natasha? Meanwhile, like as I'm like skimming through the videos, I just see her. She's like,
I feel her. I don't need to look at her stuff. Like I'm like, where's this confidence level? I feel like it's high.
Yeah. Like Natasha,
and how do you get it? How do you do it? Like what do you do to pump yourself up?
Well, I was just gonna and add this into what Lily's asking as well. Did you take drama in school or anything like that? Like, were you a drama nerd at all? No.
No.
Are you a Leo? Are you an Aries? Are you
an Aries? That explains it.
I'm Leo rising.
Leo rising.
I said Leo first. Girl, I'm a Leo, but I'm a cowardly vine a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of my cowardness because I've been laughed at, the whole thing. Like it's been my whole life. I've just been. So Natasha, no drama classes for you. This is just authentically you.
No drama
Is there any?
That sounded entirely different in my mind.
We all take drama classes. Life is a drama class.
Like swapping class and sort of beefing with each other. Is that what that class was about? I don't even remember anymore. That's like a real class now, apparently. Anyways, acting class. But yeah, Natasha, like I guess like
I took drama.
Where do you feel you kind of like what helps you kind of like bring your presence onto the camera?
Meditation.
Yeah.
Like exercise, yoga.
Yeah, like when it comes to the camera, like I'm not really shy. It's only with live things, actually, I'll be honest. When it comes to like speaking from this moment and not rehearsing something, that's when I have
I'm opposite.
Have my and it's funny.
I do better with live. Like, I do better with live.
We'll trade. We'll give each other some of the.
That's what it's about. That's what's collaborative. So I can tell you with live, what I do is I just really I put an intention. I start with an intention with the live that I get, I send out a signal. And there's sometimes I'll record live and I'll be like, I'm not going to say this. I'm not really sending out, it's transmitting a signal, but I start with an intention and I integrate that intention. And then I project that intention to call forth those that can hear that call. And that's how I do it on lives. And I just remember that they're just a human like me. And some of the times, it's just practice too, because you're live. Like I belched one time on a live. No one had a problem with it. Like,
I love
you know what I mean? I was like, hey fam, what's up? Sorry, just belch. So like that helped me. I belched. No, you get what I'm saying. And what helped you, sister, with like we can talk without the males.
Like, I don't care. But I mean, like, because I mean, yeah, like it, like in your bio on TikTok, it literally says spiritual goofball, and I'm gonna bet $1 million that you're the only person on TikTok with that in their Instagram bio, and like, and even just that, like, because I mean, like that's like a
quirky. I'm quirky. I can get
yeah, like I think that's like a really kind of
authentic
cool title to play with, but at the same time, like. I know that just by you having that doesn't mean that, you know, maybe there will be videos that will be like a little bit more serious and everything like that too. But I mean, yeah, like what does, like, when did you decide that you were a spiritual goofball? But I guess that's always probably, like, you've probably just been a goofball. So that's
she's a Leo. Come on, speak for yourself. I'm a Leo. We're goofy.
Goofball is such a weird word. Like I'm just like, the more I say it, I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what's?
I just think Spaceballs. I can't get Spaceballs out of my head. Like the movie Spaceballs.
Yeah. Okay. As you're answering that, I'm gonna dive into where the term goofball.
I forgot where you're being recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is all being recorded, right? This is people are gonna be inspired by this. So it's all right.
Awesome.
But anyways, yeah. Go ahead.
Guys, you'll fit right in. Yeah. We're all mad here.
riffing back and forth. We're gonna wrap up this meeting in like 15 minutes, anyways. But yeah, just and again, this is just kind of like a chance for you to hear yourself, plus us just get to know each other. But yeah, like, tell us a little bit more about your sort of spiritual goofball mindset.
Yeah, I guess it's lately been more about channeling my inner child because I was just. Totally goofy growing up and just laughing all the time. Like I was always known as the girl having laughing fits and laughing at everything. And recently, like maybe a couple weeks ago, I had done this workshop. And I think I had posted this actually on Discord too, like that where we were channeling our higher selves, and which I've done 1,000,000 times, but it was so clear to me this time. And I just saw my higher self dancing and being the epitome of goofy, and I was like, shit, that's me. That's me. And so I was like, okay, just be that goofy self. And then spiritual goofball was born or reborn or remembered, I guess. Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a good way of putting it. So that's cool. And do you get, what's your, like, are you getting much feedback on your posts and stuff like that? Like, are you like getting the engagement in the comments of people just, you know, like, what's that like so far?
Yeah, I noticed. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of, like you'd mentioned, like, oh, that's totally me. That's me. That's me. And that's really cool to see. And then also people asking questions like, oh, could you explain this more? Or what does this mean? And yeah, so it was interesting. I don't know. It's just something that didn't occur to me. I'm like, oh yeah, other people are tuning into this that are just like not deep in the throes of their spiritual journey. Like they're learning, even deep in the throes, you still have questions.
So you're like entry leveling it, like sort of like, because like everyone in their spiritual practice, like we learn as we go. Like Brendan was able to help me. Yeah, I had the same thought. Here's the better way to do it, you know, and working together as a team is exactly what we need. And I just have to say, you brought tears to my eyes. I know that this is recorded and no one can see that.
I felt that.
Thank you.
Amazing. Aww.
Group hug.
Yeah.
I'm always the crier.
Right? No, it's like, and honestly, like seriously, like just kind of feeling into what Lily's feeling. Like I think Natasha, by like you kind of like bringing this energy, it's actually healing for other people in ways.
Especially see another Leo, like, and here's what I want to be. Like this is just.
Yeah, because I think again, like I think by all of us here, Lily and anybody listening to this in the future, again, when we kind of like bring that kind of like, you know, whatever energy we're bringing, whether it be the goofball, the lighthearted, the seriousness, it gives other people permission to kind of like drop into that energy and for them to see it within themselves. Because I think like that's the kind of the powerful thing is that through TikTok, this is a very powerful idea. Through TikTok, essentially it's this platform of just like reciprocated admiration where people like follow other people because they admire them. But when we admire someone, what is that actually like? What's actually happening when we admire someone?
Resignation.
When,
like you resonate.
When we resonate. And what I was going to say is that like when we admire someone, what we're actually doing is acknowledging that there's like something we see in them that we wish we saw in ourselves. But then it's
so I'm being a little closed off. I need to be less closed off.
And then at the same time, it's also this idea that like it's helping them understand that that is inside themselves. It's just being able to kind of like maybe nurture it and bring it a bit to the surface. So by you being kind of like this goofball and Lily doing her thing and me doing our thing, it's giving other people this ability to kind of be like, oh, again, you know, like spirituality can look in so many different ways. The human experience.
And mine's like inner flame. I like to have some outer flame too. I mean, it's in there. And I'm a Leo, but I'm a Leo Virgo. So.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm a Virgo also.
Oh, there you go.
Sun. Are you serious? My moon's in Cancer.
Oh yeah, moon in Gemini.
We're just all like. All right, guys.
That's a meme, right?
This has been amazing. This has been amazing.
Yeah. No, I think it's really, really powerful. Again, just kind of like the idea of like, you know, we're so kind of just like, oh, we're just making TikToks and having fun, but like on a deep metaphysical level, we're like helping like bring power
ourselves,
you know,
and others.
Yeah, we're helping like people connect with some like really, really powerful stuff. So we'll get close to wrapping this up in the next little bit. Yeah, I would love to be able to like brainstorm some more, Natasha, because I feel like, again, what I want to be able to do with
I can jump off and you guys.
Oh, no, it's not a problem, Lily. Like we're going to wrap up in like 5 minutes, but what I was just going to, because we can brainstorm more in our time, but I think it would be cool to just kind of like even think like, okay, like, you know, like what would a duet look like or something like that or something, you know, like I'm just trying to think, and I don't know exactly what it is yet, but I feel and not even just like a duet, but it could be even literally something where like you film something, I film something, and then it's edited together, and then we re-upload the exact same video.
I said that before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's like this kind of just interesting. Like one of the things that I'm fascinated with when it comes to social media platforms is I like the idea of using social media platforms in a way that has never been done before. Like using it in ways that people have not seen done before, right? Mm-hmm. So like,
yeah,
having the kind of collaborative aspects of it is really cool. And again, I think on TikTok, you're seeing a lot of that with a variety of creators, not so much within the spiritual community yet. So again, I know this conversation has already been brought up, but yeah.
We've been shunned. We've been shunned. We've been out, like, it's our time to rise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
TikTok's a great way.
And we got the skills and we got the talent to do it. So yeah, we'll have to spend a little bit more time just kind of brainstorming at that. Like, I don't want to dive into it just now because I think there's enough that we've kind of talked about that I want to just allow to kind of like sit and percolate and everything. You know, we talked about, you know, just.
I'm going to meditate after this. Yes.
Yeah. We talked about stuff at the beginning, just kind of like, again, you know, just like creative ideas. We talked about the Patreon, talked about kind of like the idea of branding ourselves through our authentic self. Talked about confidence and stuff.
Yes, you know.
What I meant by helping ourselves is like when we help others, we don't do it for that reason. Like we do it because we love so much. Yeah. And you know, so definitely just having the ability to see someone as beautiful as a reflection, like these beautiful reflections, and then how I'm gonna watch your videos, Natasha. I know I'm going to get inspired. I'm probably going to message you later. And if I can do anything for you, I'd love to help you. And if I have any questions and you have the time and you can just be like, I'd try this, I value that so much. And thank you, Brendan, for hosting this and letting me be on this call. It really was nice. No
problem. I'm glad. Yeah, it was a little bit of magic that we got to share there. So that's cool. Sweet. Well,
that's cool.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool.
It's cool. It's just a little magic.
We're just healing generations of trauma and stuff like that. It's cool.
No big deal.
Who saw me?
That's like a video in itself, right? Just like nonchalantly healing generations of trauma and stuff.
But we're laughing. Like it doesn't have to suck.
I know, right? Like how do we like that's kind of like an interesting approach, right? To find like really deep, like, you know, heavy topics and then still be able to find like a lightness into it and stuff.
Yes.
there's no rules
For
against
sure.
that. So yeah,
Yeah, we make the rules.
yeah, cool. Well, before we wrap this up, Natasha, is there any like like we can just wrap it up with gratitude, but are there any other like questions or anything, or just want to?
No, just a big thank you to you both. Like this was incredible, like honestly,
You
and
too.
I'm definitely gonna check out your work as well, Lily. But yeah, thank you for your great energy, and this was such a fun
Yes, please
inaugural Zoom.
Please do, and please, I can handle constructive criticism if it comes from somebody that I resonate with. It has more of an impact, as you probably well understand, you know. So if I have any suggestions for you, I'll DM you. You know, I'm not gonna actually comment it on your page, you know, but yeah, and the same for me. And since we've had this magical moment, I have a feeling that you'll be able to see, like, I see, maybe understand me more than somebody else. And I'm glad I joined this call, is because you'll be like, after what she said, what I see, this is what could help, you know, inspire and to create. And if I see it in you, you know, something, then like, oh my gosh, you're so good at this. I'd love more videos like this. And I bet like I'll get, you know, send more people your way. You know, I'm not in this for fame. I'm in this for my soul and for other souls and for the collective and this team. And I want to make the team proud. So any kind of constructive criticism is welcome. Any compliments, if you want to give them, that's cool, but not necessarily what I'm seeking. I have the validation inside. I'm just trying to get it outside, like many people.
Yeah, no, you've already made many of us quite proud, Lily, and I appreciate you being here. So
thank you.
Yeah, we're all yeah. Again, you know, like that's kind of the beauty of it, is that like this isn't this idea where like, again, you know, like I think the idea it's like, oh, like spiritual Avengers, like we need to like all be like Thor and Iron Man and stuff like that, but it's just like, no, we're still humans. Like we're like, even under Iron Man's armor suit and everything like that, he's still got a human heart. Well, technically he doesn't, but that's a small caveat for his circumstances. He's got like a robot heart, I guess. Anyways, that analogy only worked up to a certain point. But yeah, like it's the humanness is, you know, what makes us special and what makes us unique. So there's no point in needing to hide.
I embrace it. No, that's what I mean. Like I'm embracing
it feels it.
And challenges. Like I'm embracing it.
Yeah, and that's empowering. That's you know, when we embrace it, when we heal it, we help heal it for everyone. So yeah. Cool. Well, we're going to wrap this up. And again, I'll definitely, let's just keep in the loop. Even just use the TikTok channel to even just get some brainstorming going. Even just, I think what would be good if we just kind of create like a little bit of list of topics, and then those can be topics that, you know, like a variety of creators can kind of practice approaching.
Yeah, I'm struggling on TikTok. I'm struggling on that platform.
I think again, Lily, I think just even like take some time and, you know, like take a look at what Natasha's doing, and it might give you some ideas and stuff like that. So yeah.
But then I'll be there to help other people. Like if they're like, oh, I'm starting to TikTok, I'll be like, and then if mine's doing really well, I'll be like, hey, you won't believe how I started. I got you. Like Brendan, how he helps me with like the Patreon. He's like, I already did that. I wouldn't do that, you know. And then so with TikTok, I'm just gonna be that vessel to be able to relate and help others get started on their TikTok.
Yeah, Natasha, I'm just like getting visions of like your Patreon community where it'd just be like unlock your inner spiritual goofball or something like that, and just like silly classes and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like totally silly themed, like
inner child work. Yeah, I do a lot of inner child
like
work.
helping people with their creative expression and stuff like that. Like, and you could even say like, you know, like, oh, I'll help you like kind of like with creating your own TikToks based on your own spiritual method. Who knows, right? Like, yeah.
It's super exciting. Oh my god.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's keep that energy percolating, and let's wrap up this call, and we'll carry it with us into a future discussion. So sweet. And if you guys want to leave a comment in the public chat, just like a little like just like
gratitude.
Let people know how this meeting was. That way, so you can just kind of like hype it up, and then the others who weren't there, they can see it and just be like, oh, sweet, I have to make the next one. So and I think the recording for this is going to work. We'll find out, I guess.
Yes, Brendan, I'm sorry for for speaking over you. My volume on my phone is like,
Not a
I took
problem.
my headphones off. I didn't mean to speak over you.
Oh, I don't mind at all. It's cool. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to close off this meeting then. So I'll talk to you guys in the team chat. And yeah, there may be, if you guys are ever around later at night, I don't know what my schedule is tonight, but there's always the opportunity to just jump on and do like some more brainstorming in the evenings as well, even though if it's not like officially scheduled, but we'll keep in touch about it. So
Thank you.
Awesome
cool.
stuff.
All right. Okay. Thanks again, everyone. All
Thank
right,
you so
and
much.
wave
Thank
to the people watching this.
Namaste.
Thanks everyone
Love
who's
you.
watching this. I don't know. I
Air
guess
hug.
we'll see. All right. Air hugs.
Air hug.
All right. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.